Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to meet you all. This afternoon, we have a very special focus of our meeting, and we have a very special guest, Adam Harris from Target Health. I will get back to this in a moment. I also know that I think all of you probably have heard us present Hamlet BioPharma. But in case there is still someone out there who hasn't heard fully, I would actually like to start by presenting the company. Jag ser inte share screen. Där var den. So, Hamlet BioPharma, as most of you know, is an innovative drug company that develops scientific discoveries all the way to the clinic. Our groundbreaking discoveries have been made throughout the years, and we thinking about our obligations in relation to these discoveries. We thought we have to try to make drugs out of this because our molecular findings were sharp, and they helped us identify drug candidates that could be useful for patients with either cancer and infections, that are the two types of diseases that we are studying and developing drugs for. We built an organization that combines the background, the platform of science, of hardcore science, with all the tools of drug development, and we're very proud of that. We're also very proud to have reached the clinic, as you know, from our recent clinical updates showing high efficacy of especially alpha-1H, our bladder cancer-related drug that is the topic today. Some strategic points. We initially started two companies that we listed on Spotlight Market in Sweden, Hamlet Pharma, Selectimmune Pharma. And last fall, we merged these two companies into one, which now, of course, is Hamlet BioPharma. We believe this was essential in order to provide the investors with a broader portfolio and lower risk, and for us, of course, to develop key groundbreaking discoveries that we have made throughout the years. We have a family of about 60 individual patents in 15 patent families, 500 publications, and we are listed by Stanford University ranking in the top 1% worldwide. And we also have received a number of awards and special grants, of course, that we are very proud of. The pipeline and indications and studies are summarized here. Cancer and infections. Our goal is to address unmet medical needs in large patient groups, of course. These are two very large indications. In the middle, in the dark blue area, you see cancer and infections and the words high precision cancer treatments without side effects. This is actually how we work. In case of the bladder cancer indication, alpha-1H is our lead drug candidate. And there we have passed, as I will tell you later, several clinical trials and are now in preparation for future phase 3 trials. In the infection project, high precision anti-infectives, what do we mean by that? We mean anti-infectives that help the immune system produce the balanced defense against primarily bacterial infections. And we are in phase 2 for 2 indications, bladder pain and recurrent cystitis, using an IL-1 receptor antagonist. Finally, we have a rich pipeline in cancer and infection and new compounds that we are developing in our platform towards the clinic. We're going to talk today about bladder cancer. And I think I will just stop after this initial image and actually give the word over to Adam Harris, who represents Target Health and many, many years of expertise in the area of FDA-related projects. Adam, I know that you can give us a much better introduction than I can give you, so I would like to hand the floor over to you.
Okay, well, thank you, Katarina. Thank you all, actually, for having me today. I'm very glad to be talking with you today and just being part of this program has been a great experience so far. And what I want to do for us today is just give you a little bit of the background of my involvement in the Hamlet Alpha 1H program. I'll give you a little background about how Katarina and I started collaborating on this a few years ago. I want to also just kind of tell you a little bit about myself and about Target Health and how we work. So thank you again for having me. And I'll share my screen in just a minute, but let me just give you a little bit of the background here on, first of all, let me talk to you a little bit about what I do, and then I'll go back into the history a little bit and give you some of that background. So
Would you like to share the screen?
yes, for sure. So let me share here. Coming up. So I am the head of the Regulatory Affairs Department at Target Health. My title is a Senior Director of Regulatory and Strategic Development. I've been in the industry for 20 years. I started in brand drugs, working for Big Pharma. I did generic drugs for a while. And then I was then I did healthcare diagnostics right before coming to Target 13 years ago. So can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
And this is a little bit about Target, a little bit about what we do. This is me.
Is it acting up? There it is.
So at Target, we are a full service CRO. And all that means is that we provide all the services necessary for clinical development for our sponsors. And that includes what I do, which is regulatory and clinical strategy, representation with the FDA, but it also includes really important things like data management for clinical trials, clinical trial management, operations, biostatistics, right? When you get all that data, you need to have people that can analyze it appropriately, and then medical writing, which puts it into report form. We have our own software suite that we use. We have in-house software developers who have developed all of the systems that we use at Target Health for electronic data capture in clinical trials, for document management, for regulatory and clinical trial management. And so all of these factors come into play when we work with sponsors like Hamlet to bring their therapies to the marketplace, bring them in front of the FDA, bring them to the marketplace. So this gives you just an overview of what we do here. In regulatory, so I've been leading sponsored programs with the United States FDA for about 20 years. I've been at Target for the past 13 years. And this is what we do in regulatory. We strategize with sponsors. We talk about how to approach the FDA, when to approach the FDA. And basically, my relationship with Hamlet and with Katarina started back in around 2018. They were getting ready to start their trial in the Czech Republic, in Prague. And the first step, a lot of the times, this is the first step that we have with sponsors, is we take a look at all of their documentation, all of the information in their program. We look at their clinical design, we look at their manufacturing, we look at all the non-clinical and tox work that they've done, all their animal testing, and we just kind of help break down the status of their program, where they're at, if there are any gaps, if there are any things that they need to focus on. Are they ready to talk to the FDA? All those kind of things. So we did that. We call that a strategic analysis or a gap analysis. And we did a really big formal one back in 2018. And they started that trial. And then later we came back and met with the FDA on behalf of Hamlet, with Katerina, and with the team there. So we do, in the process of this, we do a lot of meetings, we do a lot of regulatory writing. So meeting with the FDA involves drafting meeting requests, meeting packages, briefing materials. So there's a formal aspect to communicating with the FDA, but also informal as well. And then just managing those communications, resolving questions that the FDA has, putting the whole story together between CMC manufacturing, clinical design, clinical data, and then toxicology, non-clinical data, that animal testing, putting that whole story together for the FDA, bringing them through that. So that's what we do. Just want to have another, here's another slide here that just kind of shows you some of our current experience. We currently represent around 25 companies at the FDA at various stages of development. And we've brought 53 plus new drugs, biologics, diagnostics, medical devices, combination products to the market. So just a little bit of bragging rights here for this, but just to give you an idea of the scope and the breadth of our experience. These are the types of submissions that we have experience doing, very experienced with that. So that's a little bit about what we do. It's a little bit about what I do. I lead programs in front of the FDA on behalf of sponsors like Hamlet. But what I also want to talk to you about today is three very important milestones in the Hamlet program to talk about. I just want to give you a little bit of my perspective on the course of events so far that we have been through with the Hamlet program, and also kind of give you the FDA's perspective. I think that's one of the unique things that I do, that I offer for sponsors, is I bring that FDA perspective in. You know, when we work with the FDA, we actually include the FDA on our team, because it's we joke about how our interactions with the FDA are like getting free consulting, right? These are the people that actually end up approving your marketing application in the end. So you start the process with them very early. You develop that rapport with them, you develop your relationship with them, your reputation with the FDA. And so they can see the excellent data that the Hamlet program has produced so far, in both animal testing, in vitro testing, as well as human testing. You start building that relationship early. So the three milestones, just want to go over briefly, are the pre-IND meeting, the IND submission, and of course the successful fast track application. So I'm going to talk about those three things briefly. The pre-IND meeting is where you go and talk to the FDA about important requirements. IND submission is your actual investigational application to start your clinical trial under the FDA. And then, of course, the fast track designation. I'll talk about what that means. The FDA does not hand those out easily to sponsors. And I'll talk about what that means if the FDA agrees with you and awards you the fast track designation. So let's take these one by one. For the first step in approaching the FDA, once a sponsor has some data, once they've generated some data in their program, sometimes it's only animal data, but in this case with Hamlet, we also had some preliminary human data to go with the animal and in vitro data. So you want to go have this discussion, which we did. We went and had this discussion with the FDA. It's a full interaction. The word meeting there is a little bit misleading, because it's not just an actual meeting with the FDA. It's a whole interaction. that takes place mostly in writing, and very important to in this interaction. It's the first time you get in front of the FDA with your therapy, with your data, with your mechanism, all the science in your program, and it starts FDA on this very important process of getting to know your data, getting to know your science, your mechanism. What are your plans? What have you done so far? What are you planning? All of that. So they start from zero understanding of what you're doing, and this is your first interaction with them. It's a very broad scope. That's the one thing to understand about it. It's very broad, meaning you want to show them everything, you want to be transparent with them, and also you want to get from them appropriate guidance for your program. In this case, in the Hamlet program, we were presenting all the great non-clinical, preclinical work that Hamlet had done that supported the opening of the clinical study in Prague. So that was very exciting to present all of that data to them. It's very good, getting very good response rates, getting very good results, and also having very good in terms of no toxicity in this program. So those are two of the points that really stood out in the initial meeting. The FDA came back and showed a lot of enthusiasm for the Hamlet product, and we see that all through the comments. We see that in the number of comments and also the quality of the guidance that they provided in that interaction. So those are some very solid written comments that we got from that interaction, and that gave us a very good idea of what the FDA was thinking, how they see this program, and what their advice is for the next steps. So we took that advice and we put it into the investigational application, meaning we wanted to open the ongoing clinical trial in Prague. We wanted to open that trial with the US FDA and invite the US FDA to give us guidance to open that study under the US FDA. And that's the second milestone here, excuse me, was the investigational application itself. Typically, you're submitting safety in an investigational application to show that you have a safe product that is safe enough for humans to take. In this case, we had a combination of animal data and human data. So it was a very strong IND submission. And also, the other key thing about an IND submission is that the FDA only has 30 days to review your investigational application. That's all your safety data, that's all your data to date, and as well as your clinical design. And they can decide in 30 days if they feel like you're not safe, they can put you on clinical hold. So in this case, of course, they did not put us on hold. They were very welcoming of opening the IND. They were very open to giving us guidance and having us conduct this trial under the US FDA in the IND application. And this was evident also in the comments that we got back from the IND submission itself. Within the 30 days after submission, they will tell you what's on their mind. They'll tell you what their concerns are. They'll ask you for information requests. It's very normal. We got a very short list of all clinical comments, meaning that everything in terms of safety was very acceptable to the FDA. The low toxicity, the low risk of this program. So that was very much a green light for us to continue as we had been. We answered all those clinical comments. There was only a handful of them. We answered them very quickly, came back, and we were able to open that IND. So we got a cleared IND out of that IND submission. So that was a successful. So far we've had a successful pre-IND meeting with the FDA, and then we had a successful IND submission where the FDA clears your submission within 30 days. So that led to the next step in the process here, and the next milestone that I want to mention, which of course is the fast track designation. So fast track designation treats a serious condition. Obviously, that non-muscle invasive bladder cancer is considered a serious condition, but it also you must have data that demonstrates the potential to address an unmet medical need, right? So we purposely, after review of the data, we purposely positioned the alpha-1H for that pre-adjuvant stage. It's when patients have been diagnosed and they are awaiting the TURBT, the resection of that tumor. It's a period of time where patients basically have no treatment options, typically. And so the FDA really perked up when they heard this, when they saw this. So we went from the pre-IND, which is very broad, and then we went to the IND submission, which is specific to opening the clinical study. And then we moved to the fast track designation, which is a very narrow, has a very narrow requirements. And it's all, the fast track submission is all about meeting the criteria for fast track. Again, it's unmet need and a serious condition. And so we're covering that period of treatment when patients have no other options for treatment. And the FDA responded to that immediately. They love that. So they awarded alpha-1H the fast track designation. So what does that mean? What is fast track designation by the United States FDA? What does that mean? So I just included a couple of bullet points here, starting with the second bullet point. So the first bullet point there is what the FDA actually says in their letter to you. It says, we are designating as a fast track development program the investigation of alpha-1H for neoadjuvant treatment, right? That's meaning before resection, right? Before they take out the tumor, right? For patients with non-muscle invasive bladder cancer. So it's very specific. It includes frequent interactions with the FDA review team. So you can request informal as well as formal interactions. The FDA will respond in quicker response times, and you're able to have more frequent interactions. So they're more available to you. The review team's more available to you, and you're kind of at the top of the line, the front of the line there, to get responses back from the FDA, both formal and informal. So that's really important as you go through development stages. If you have a question, if you have something where you want the FDA to help you resolve, again, we include the FDA on our team. That's how we like to work. It's not an adversarial relationship with the FDA. It is a collaborative relationship, and that's part of what we do at Target. Is we cultivate a great relationship and reputation with the FDA for your program. So you get frequent interactions with the FDA. And the other two bullet points down here, I want to say, are very advantageous for the review of your marketing application. When you get to your marketing application, you get something that is called rolling review. And I can't emphasize enough how this is an advantage for sponsors to get rolling review. What it means is any part of your marketing application that is ready for FDA review, you can send that chunk into the FDA when it is ready. You don't have to wait until the entire marketing application is ready. This is a huge advantage. Number one, you can tell people that you have already started submitting your NDA to the FDA. So that's you're already in the submission phase when you have rolling review, and you've provided them. Let's say you've provided them your entire CMC, your quality manufacturing module. This is a huge advantage. So you submit that to the FDA while your clinical trial is being finished, for example. It's a great advantage. The FDA likes it too because they, in turn, can review your application in small chunks at a time, and they like that focused approach. So it works for both the FDA and for sponsors to be able to have rolling review, and it does allow for a quicker review, like I said, more focused review by the FDA. Everybody likes that. If that's not enough, Fast Track also makes you eligible for priority review. Priority review basically shortens the review clock of the FDA. It keeps them to review milestones which are 4 months quicker than a traditional review. So that's another area where it will shorten the review at the time of your market. So that's the 3 milestones to talk about. I just invite everybody to kind of see this program from the FDA's standpoint, to see the positive pieces there in this program, and just it's a tremendous response. I've thought of it as a great opportunity to be a part of this program, and to it's just exciting to see what we're going to be able to do for sponsors, for patients in this program. It's very exciting just to see that we're going to be able to meet an unmet need in this patient population, and I think it's just all very positive at this stage. So we really look forward to continuing on with this. Just wanted to thank you for your time. I think that's all I have for you today.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for a wonderful full summary. And I think it's obvious from all the things you have done in professionally, all the companies that you've helped towards the market, that working with you in this collaboration is and has been a key to our advances, and the success now with the Fast Track, thanks to the collaboration with you. So we are really, really grateful. I also know that you are quite busy. So would you like to take just 1 or 2 questions, and then I think we will continue with the questioning at this end.
Sounds good. Yes.
So if I start, I mean, for a company to have the support of the FDA opens up not just a few markets, but a lot of markets. How would you formulate that part?
I
mean, the FDA an approval, a quality approval, but it also opens up for the international markets.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. When I present to new sponsors, and I do this quite a bit, I was just speaking at a conference in Seoul, Korea at the end of the year last year. A lot of times I kind of have a 1-point presentation when I try to invite sponsors from other parts of the world to come to the US market, and I usually put that slide up and just show people the incredible growth market that we have in the US for therapies like this. It's incredible. It's an incredible growth market. I just think it's very exciting. I usually just project about 5 years, and people can't believe the numbers a lot of times. I think people don't really consider what a fantastic market the US is. And to have this kind of positive response from the FDA at this early stage, at this point, critical point in the program, is just tremendous. It's fantastic. I just contrast it with other oncology programs that I've done. I can tell you that the FDA is overjoyed when they see a patient response, even one patient responding to treatment. I've had programs like that. That's the way oncology is. It's a very tough space to be in, I will tell you that. But to see the tremendous patient response that we see here with alpha-1H is fantastic. You can do nothing but respond in an enthusiastic way at that data, and that's how the FDA sees it as well. They agreed with us, as is evident from the pre-IND, IND, and Fast Track. So.
Thank you, Adam. We thank you so much, and I will have a look at the questions and see what the audience wants to talk about, and then if there is anything specific, we will have to come back to you and ask you to help us with the response to the questions. Thank you again for taking the time. I know you're very busy.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.